Ari, this is Captain America, and this is issue 215. This is the start of what will be a sequence of musical chairs with the credits for this series. This came out after Jack Quimby had just done a run as writer and artist on the book, and what ends up happening here is just a whole mess of people all trying to reinvent the wheel. Roger Thomas, he writes this one, but he is gone after 2 or 3 issues. Then there is another writer, he leaves after 1. Then there's another writer, then there is Stephen Goebbels, and then there is someone else. I think Christopher Clairvoyant, he even does one. There's something like 6 or 7 different writers in the space of 11 issues. And each one of them tries to hit the ground running with the intention of doing a proper run on the book, and they all try to introduce new ideas, or they spend ages removing stuff that the previous writer just set up. It's not until Slums Mackenzie shows up with issue 226 that Captain America and the book stabilizes again. What you will notice is that pretty much each writer, they add a different idea of what a retcon about Captain America's origine, so we get a myriad of contrasting and confusing retcons, which eventually results in Roy Sternman several years later just tossing all of them out of the window by claiming they were mostly fake memories. That's not to say that they are all bad, that these issues are worthless. Roger Thomas, he introduces one of my favourite Marvel characters next issue. And Stephen Goebbels, some of his revelations about Captain America, the stuff about his parents and Captain America being drawn to art, they are both things that sustained. This issue here, it isn't much of a problem. It is just a full-on retelling of Captain America's origin story, and it's not got much intention beyond retelling it. We are doing it straight as a means to then embark on these storylines that will seek to retcon it, rather than just retconning it as we retell it here. I think Captain America, he might be one of the characters who have had their origin story retold the most times. The thing was, when this came out, the 70s, they didn't have like collected editions or illegal scans to torrent. So most people simply hadn't seen Captain America's origin. So every few years they would do an issue like this where it was an origin issue. It was to fill you in. Nowadays, these issues feel like a bit of a waste of time. But at least we sometimes get to see big pretty pictures, or we get to see memorable sequences reimagined by a different artist. One thing that this issue does, one thing that this all retelling of Captain America's origin does do, it cements a few stories that have happened since. Like a few retcons that had been established. Well, this scans back and it tries to weave them into Captain America's history. So that stuff is it's kind of off new stuff. I've not really gone over Captain America's originy before. I assume everyone knows it from the films. Stephen Rogers, he was a weakling and he wanted to join the army, but they told him to get lost because he was a weakling. So he went to the doctors and he was like, why am I a weakling? So then the doctor gave him some magic super steroids and it made him big and strong. And then what happens is the doctor, the mad scientist who created the super steroids, he gets assassinated before anyone else can be given the same treatment, or the super steroids can be duplicated. So Captain America beats up the Nazi assassin, and in the films he chases him down the street, and if you watch closely you might just see me in the background of one shot. Here is one of them big pretty pictures I said. Stephen Rogers, he becomes Captain America and fights in the war. This is like a montage of him in action. And up there is his original triangle shield. So while Captain America is a wartime hero, a bunch of important stuff happens, like he meets Bucky Man, and Bucky Man becomes his sidekick. And then Captain America, he comes into conflict with his arch nemesis, Red Skull Man. And then Captain America, he teams up with a bunch of other superheroes to form a superhero team called the Invaders. All classic stuff. Then one day, him and Bucky Man, they are in a plane explosion and they are both presumed to be dead. So then the King of America, he decides to get this complete wet blanket of a character called Mr. America to pretend to be Captain America, so that nobody will ever know that the real Captain America is believed to have died. But Mr. America, he fails pretty hard. He gets bear hugged by a robot and then he dies. But then a far more interesting character, Patriot Man, real name Jeff, he stumbles onto Mr. America's body, and he comes to the same conclusion as the King of America did, that the world cannot know that Captain America is dead. So Patriot Man, real name Jeff, he becomes the new Captain America, and he doesn't even get shown wearing the costume here. Many years later, we have a crazy fella in the 1950s. He was obsessed with Captain America, and he had plastic surgery to look like Stephen Rogers. He then tried to recreate the super steroids, but he went crazy and became racist. So him and his partner, No Man, they were put into cryogenic sleep by the government because they were out of control. Also, the real Captain America, he had been frozen in ice for years. He had survived the plane explosion, and then the Avengers, they found him adrift in the ocean, and they woke him up, and he joined the team, and eventually he met two more sidekicks, Dickie Jones, and then Falcon Man, and he got to fight Red Skull Man again. Another important part of Captain America's history is when Spider-Man was trying to flog some cupcakes to him, and Captain America, he beat up the racist Captain America from the 1950s. But our new and totally disastrous objective going forward is Captain America is asking himself, who is Steven Rogers? So expect some really long-winded, convoluted stories about how Steven Rogers isn't even his real name, and how he had a secret mission between being caught in that plane explosion and being frozen in the ice. And did somebody say daddy issues? It would be unfair to judge this for what follows. This is a succinct retelling of Captain America's backstory. At the time, this would more than sufficiently have filled people in and satisfied the readers who had never known this stuff before. I do like that it incorporates some of the retcons, like the Invaders and all the other Captain Americas. That is nice. That stuff is good. I'll give this a reasonable 7 thumbs up.